Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to try and untangle quality control and quality assurance. They sound similar, but they're distinct.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll look at how a big digital player, REA Group, uses lean management. Got some interesting stuff.
We do. We'll be leaning on definitions from ISO, the International Organization for Standardization. They're sort of the global benchmark.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we've got this great case study about REA Group. They're the Australian digital property company. See, lean in, the real world.
So our mission today really is twofold. First, let's nail down that difference. QC versus QA. People mix them up all the time.
Crucial difference.
Second, we want to see how a company like REA Group uses lean ideas not just to survive, but actually innovate in, well, a super fast-moving digital market.
Okay, let's get into it. Quality first.
Yeah, so ISO. Let's start there.
Right, so ISO. It's this huge global body. They develop international standards for, well, almost everything you can think of.
Making sure things are safe, reliable, good quality.
Exactly. And it helps international trade, makes things smoother, cuts costs for businesses, too. It's about setting best practices everyone agrees on.
So they provide those kind of universal benchmarks. And for what we're talking about, the ISO 9000 family is key, right, for quality management.
Precisely. That's the foundation. And when we look at QA and QC, we're using their specific definitions from ISO 9000.2015.
Okay. Let's unpack QA first. Quality assurance.
Okay. So clause 3.3.6 defines it as, and I'm paraphrasing slightly, the part of quality management focused on providing confidence that quality requirements will be fulfilled.
Confidence, that's the key word.
That's the keyword. It's proactive. It's about building trust into the process itself, making it likely the outcome meets the standard before you even get there.
So it's about preventing problems, like in digital ads, maybe testing creative on different phones before it goes live.
Exactly. Prevent the bad user experience, the wasted money. That proactive bit builds way more trust than just fixing broken ads later. That's more QC.
Okay, I get it. Building quality in from the start, like a solid foundation for a house. Makes sense. So how does quality control differ then?
Well, clause 3.3.7 defines QC as the part focused on fulfilling quality requirements. The focus shifts to the output.
The end result.
Right, it's more reactive, examining the finished thing, the service, the product, to check if it meets the specific criteria. Think final inspections, testing right before launch.
I see. So QA builds it in, QC checks it's there at the end. One prevents, focuses on the system. The other verifies, focuses on the outcome. That's a really clear distinction.
It really is. Assurance tries to stop defects happening. Control finds and fixes any that slip through.
Got it. Okay, so let's see this in action. REA Group.
Yes. REA Group, big deal in digital advertising, maybe $9 billion valuation, based in Melbourne, but global reach.
And their main thing is property buying, renting, commercial, helping people find what they need.
But what's really interesting is how they think about their scale. They want to operate like 2,500 different versions of their website and apps.
Wow, 2,500, tailored to each suburb.
Yeah, exactly. Huge personalization challenge.
Yeah.
They even did this app, Ask Izzy, helping homeless people find services. Shows a pretty broad view.
That's impressive. And they've got this consumer research lab, right? 20 people really focused on the customer.
And they're not just looking at clicks. They talk to like 1,000 people a year. Real engagement.
How do they do that? Just surveys?
Oh, much deeper. Interviews, sure, but also observation. They actually watch how people use their tech.
Like shoulder surfing.
Even more advanced. They use things like to-be glasses, eye tracking to see where people look at the screen, and VR for virtual walkthroughs.
Whoa, so they really get into the user's head, trying to understand what they value.
Exactly. Things like saving time, getting clear information, trusting the platform. And they look at different groups, landlords, renters, investors, agents, trying to tailor things.
Makes sense. But the whole property market's been turned upside down by the internet, hasn't it?
Oh, completely. Searching for property is totally different now. And REA sees the next step isn't just search, it's proactive matching. Tech finding stuff for you.
Which brings up the question about, traditional real estate agents. What's their future role?
Yeah, that's a big discussion. REA's view, at least currently, seems to be that agents plus technology is the winning combo. Local knowledge combined with tech efficiency, including AI.
So they see them working together, not technology replacing agents entirely.
For now, yes. But they're also seeing disruption from, well, unexpected places. Google, Facebook, Airbnb, even WeChat.
The classic innovator's dilemma, right? How do you respond when new players jump in from the side?
Exactly. And their vision for the future is heavily tech-driven. AI, matching properties, personalized info pushed to you.
Like getting an alert, hey, this place just listed, ticks all your boxes, here's the school info.
Something like that. But this also meant they had to change internally, right? Their own structure.
Yeah, you mentioned a reorganization a few years back, more customer-focused.
That's right. And they adopted this Agile ideas factory model for developing software and apps.
An ideas factory. Sounds dynamic. What did that look like practically? Less hierarchy.
Yeah, more multidisciplinary teams. They took inspiration from Spotify, actually.
Ah, a Spotify model. Tribes and squads.
You got it. Big tribes focused on customer segments like buyers or renters. Smaller squads building specific products. And guilds connecting people with the same skills, say, all the security engineers across different teams.
Guilds for sharing knowledge. Okay, sounds much more fluid. Faster, maybe?
That's the goal. Better collaboration, faster development cycles, sharing knowledge better, essential in digital.
And it wasn't just the tech teams embracing this. The legal team story is pretty amazing.
Oh, it's a fantastic example. They were seriously swamped. Complex contracts, tons of customization, people working, like 70-hour weeks, a real bottleneck.
Wow. So how does a legal team, which you think of as pretty traditional, adopt something like Agile or Lean?
Well, they got curious, seeing it work elsewhere in REA. They started by just visualizing their workflow, attended product team stand-ups, mapped out their own contract process from request to signature.
Just putting it all on a wall.
Basically, yeah. And it immediately showed where the delays were, the waiting times, the inefficiencies. That visual map was a real eye-opener, a shared understanding of the problem.
And seeing it laid out like that, what happened next?
They put a prioritization system in place. Urgent stuff, high-value stuff first, and almost straight away duplication dropped. The bottleneck started to clear up.
Just from prioritizing better.
And visualizing. Plus, they learned about interruptions. You know how long it takes to get back on track after someone stops you?
Uh-oh, how long?
About 20 minutes, they found, on average, to really get back into deep focus.
20 minutes. That adds up massively across a week. What did they do about that?
Simple, really. They set up a system where one person was the designated interruptible one at any time. Maybe put a flag on their desk or something.
So the rest could focus. Genius.
It freed up huge chunks of focus time. And this success just snowballed. The legal team got really into it.
So they didn't just fix their own problem, they became advocates.
Exactly. As REA shifted more to those multidisciplinary teams, the lawyers ended up being like internal consultants, sharing what worked, helping other teams spot their own inefficiencies.
That's brilliant. Did they automate stuff too?
Yeah, they started automating routine legal processes, building self-service tools for other departments, freed themselves up for the complex strategic work. It's a great story of people and tech working together.
And this lean thinking spread beyond legal.
It did. The people and culture teams saw the results. They sat nearby and started using visualization too. Then finance adopted visual management when they were rolling out a new system.
So it wasn't like a top-down mandate, thou shalt do lean.
Not really, no. More organic. Driven by curiosity, seeing success, which ties into who they hire. They look for curiosity, resilience, critical thinking.
Sounds like a culture thing. Less about a rigid manual, more about shared learning.
That's the feel. And leadership, the CEO Tracy Fellows, plays a big part. Fostering that culture, setting the challenge, providing that clear why, changing how people experience property globally.
Okay, let's pull this together. We started clarifying QA, proactive confidence building, versus QC, reactive output checking.
Right, preventative versus verification.
Then we saw REA Group applying lean principles everywhere, from really deep customer research
Using eye tracking and VR.
to totally rethinking internal processes, like that legal team transformation, adapting constantly in that digital space.
Yeah, and for me, the big takeaway, the sort of aha moment, is seeing a digital advertising company successfully borrow from, manufacturing ideas like lean.
Yeah, it's not the first place you'd think of for lean.
Exactly. But it worked. Better efficiency, collaboration, customer focus shows how widely these principles can apply.
It absolutely makes you think. For anyone listening, how could these ideas, really understanding your customer, streamlining how you work, fostering that improvement culture, how could that work in your context, whatever your field?
And that leads to a bigger thought, maybe. If REA can do this, what other industries that seem totally unrelated could benefit from mixing methodologies like lean or agile?
Cross-pollination.
Yeah, what cool innovations might pop up if we started combining strategies across seemingly different worlds? Something to chew on after this deep dive.